So hello everyone and welcome to the Garnet Cup. We are here with Group B in round 1. We have Pavlos, Numbers, Fox, and Hexapus. We are playing on Mars. We have an electronics colony with a bunch of high prices this game. Silicon and glass are going to be interesting to look at early. There are nomads available, but the founds don't look great for nomad. It's only a bunch of lows that have adjacency. Everything else is kind of awkward. So what else are we looking at? Aluminum is going to be a major problem this game. All of it is clustered right around the colony here. We're probably going to be looking at elites to help avoid some of that. Maybe someone will look to monopolize the aluminum, and that could be a very interesting and strong play. Yeah, the nomad makes a lot of sense here. There is no iron for miles, so trying to make something else work there would be difficult. Whereas the nomad's not really sacrificing anything for that. Fox did found pretty early to get there. He should not have a significant problem, even though the silicon isn't great. Triple low adjacent is still good enough. And since electronics started low, though it's an electronics colony, Fox should get off to a quick enough start that he should be able to block off the rest of the aluminum and just be in a very strong position against everyone that's not elite. Unfortunately for him, there are 2 elites this game. Pavlos going for a bit of an awkward 1-1-1-1 start. Numbers hasn't quite decided what he's doing with the rest of his claims yet, but did pick up an iron tile, did pick up a steel mill. I think Pavlos would probably be in a better place with an extra steel mill, or even extra iron, something like that. Silicon was a concern for him, and only having the single tile is going to be very slow. Same with Fox, same with Numbers, but we'll see how that all plans out. Hexapus going for expansive with 2 elites already down. There probably wasn't much else to do. Much more standard, lots of iron, lots of steel. That should be pretty good for him. Yeah, I'm not going to try to pronounce Numbers, sorry. Numbers went for water for the last claim. That's going to be it's pretty much going to be a dead claim since Pavlos already claimed the water. He's going to be getting the majority of that money. So this isn't going to do anything for a while, even though it is important to secure the water long term because there are not good sources otherwise. So Fox has managed to get to HQ2 a while ago. He did pick up these extra aluminum tiles. I do not think it is what he wants to do to collect that much aluminum. There are a lot of reasonable alternatives for him, such as glass. Silicon is a bit high. It's going to climb a bit higher still with the 2 elites trying to push for upgrades. Well, I guess they're both on 2 already, but there isn't a ton of silicon collection, I guess is what we're getting at. But these aluminum tiles are pretty much going to be dead. He's collecting way too much, and if he's selling any, that's kind of defeating the purpose of the monopoly. But on the other hand, I guess there aren't any other great markets for him to move into. He might be looking at something water-based. Food and reactors are both reasonably strong, but yes, that is one downside to what Fox is doing, and one upside to what everyone else did. They claimed all the good water. Fox is going to have a bit of trouble with that. Luckily for Fox, early Pleasure Dome is going to be great with 2 elites and an expansive. And I'm not sure how well other people are going to be able to contest that. Numbers still on the single steel mill. That's going to be a problem with steel this high. Moving into condensers is also concerning. It's just not a great market. Both carbon and oxygen are pretty low. Geothermal auction going up to 28k is pretty significant, but there are a lot of geothermal tiles left. It's not necessarily something you need to go hard for. Power is reasonable and climbing, so it's not a bad investment at all. Especially since Hexapus was unlikely to make power money in any case. And as an expansive, the cost is not as prohibitive. Pavlos has made it to 3. It's moved into a bunch more steel. That is nice. It's still going to be a bit of a problem for Pavlos to do much of anything. He's moving into power. That'll do some work for him. It depends on how much further power is going to rise. Pavlos is the main person producing power right now, so he should be in a good position to make some power money, even though it will be a bit slow to roll in. He has a good chunk of debt to blow through, and life support costs are pretty high. Okay, Hexbus has also moved into a pleasure dome at this point. Neither has finished constructing yet. Fox will get a nice 324 for a while. That will be cut almost in half in the not too distant future. Fox is making food, getting into a geo, running off of this little medium water. Lots of claim purchases so far. Core samples will be very useful going forward. A lot of people have awkward water. Core samples will help a lot with that. Core samples could have been something to deal with the aluminum situation as well. It doesn't seem like it's going to be necessary this game. Fox has been struggling enough that he has had to sell a fair amount. Aluminum at $12 is not something you really want to be seeing if you have a pseudo-monopoly of that. Hexbus does have the single low, but that's not really enough to cover anything. So what I'd really like to see this game, I think, is for someone to get into a patent lab. There are a lot of good patents available. A lot of people would like to see superconductor. Well, I guess mostly Hexbus and numbers. Slant drilling will always be nice with how awkward a lot of these resources are. Other things, potential carbon scrubbing's not great. Virtual reality will be amazing. Fox just has such a great pleasure dome spot and just getting better. Okay, network virus auction will be useful to pop a goon. Not likely to be much use for anything else. Circuit overload's also available to pop goons, but less interesting. Let's take a quick look at who has picked up all the... Hello? Oh, I'm using caps lock. No wonder I'm not switching perspectives. Okay, so goon squads. No goon squads for numbers. One for Pavlos on the power makes a lot of sense. Fox has the goon on the pleasure dome and on the patent lab. Hexpus does not have any goons either. Water is insane at this point. Not surprising. Lots of people moving to life support and a lot of fighting over not very good water. Someone needs to go slant drilling. I don't know, not really sure why Fox has prioritized nanotech. Silicon is high, it makes some amount of sense, but it's not something that feels like it should be a priority at this point. Can live without superconductor or without nanotech, but slant drilling fixes so many problems. Yes, no switching perspectives, only shouting. Alright. So where are we at? Hexpus has moved up to 4, Pavlos has also moved up to 4. Pavlos is still in pretty good shape thanks to his power. Oh, he managed to core sample out this high water, and that's going to be excellent for him. Unfortunately, right now it's frozen, but he will be just fine moving forward. Numbers is moving into the slant drilling. He's having some debt problems because he hasn't managed to move into any of the life support and he's a bit late into the power. But as an elite, he's not going to be dead quite so soon. And it's very possible with an upgrade that he gets into a pretty decent position. Fox is going to be very sad when numbers beats him to slant, unless something is done here. Fox is likely going to have to do the attack himself, because I don't think anyone else will want to attack numbers instead of Fox, who has a large amount of cash at this point. Hexbus does have the cash to defend himself, and probably should. Not in a great situation long term. He does have the patent lab up and the optimization center up, doing some good work there. Virtual reality will be strong for him, but still in D debt, and he's the expansive in a game with 2 elites. I'm also worried for Fox for that reason, but we'll see how Pavlos and numbers develop from here. Right now, Pavlos has not pushed into any sort of research, just kind of coasting off the power money and the Pleasure Dome, which, to be fair, are doing great work for him. I guess the Pleasure Dome only finished recently, hasn't gotten the chem shipment in, but right, would really like to see some optimization starting. A lot of prices high. Also would like to see some goons picked up. I imagine it's mostly been claims up to this point. Claims are up to 30k now. I don't imagine there will be many more purchases of those coming. Okay, numbers has picked up slant, effectively denying it from Fox. Fox going for carbon scrubbing now. Carbon scrubbing does not seem important. Carbon is now $10, it is 21, and with dry ice literally everywhere, it's just not going to be a factor this game. How are we looking long term? Oxygen launches are pretty decent. They should hold up pretty well too. It's only sold for $430 is middle of the range probably. So off-worlds will be decent this game, and oxygen as a launch should never get too expensive. The thinking machines might be something interesting to look at. Basically anything but carbon scrubbing. Freeze on food is very nice. Bounces didn't work out nicely, but what can you do? Fox moving into more food as response is excellent. Will make a lot of money. Oh wow, Fox core sampled out double high here. A lot of good luck with core samples this game, and that just changes things dramatically. Water was over 100 before, nearing 150, now it's back down to 50. It's unlikely to really climb much further up. So in that sense, maybe slant drilling was not that important to pick up, and numbers rushing to it kind of hurt himself a lot. Numbers has still not moved into any real life sport. Getting some reactors now will be helpful, but yeah, farms are what's necessary, and they're what's coming down. Might just be too little too late. D+3 is a ton of debt, 224k just to pay it off. It's 100k to get back to C debt. It's looking very bad for him. Like maybe what I'd like to see there to help try to recover. Move out of the patent lab for sure. Optimizations could help. But he really needs this game to go very long. He needs to start investing hard and hope he's ignored long enough while everyone else is fighting to recover. In the meantime, Fox has been just making money hand over fist, thanks in large part to the water, to the farms, just making the quick money while other people are having to go for slower pushes to upgrade and everything. Benefit of being the nomad. Xbus is kinda hanging on still. How do his optimizations look? They're going into decent places, food is solid. Hexpus likely will just need more optimizations than that. He is the only one who doesn't have a significant amount of water. Core samples, again, still an option for me. He does have 2 claims left. He might also just be fine with double low water and hoping other people sell down, as there is enough water overproduction in this game that he might not need to worry about that. Other people might keep the market in check. So Fox going for the buy onto numbers makes a lot of sense. Numbers being that deeply in debt means that it's going to be a cheap buy. Fox does have the potential to just get a big stock price boost, potentially get a decent amount of money with so much money on World. The sub will be alright, even if it's not amazing, even if there aren't all that many long-term investments stocked yet. No optimizations in particular. But Pavlos is still scary this game, not in food, which is very interesting to me. Food just seems like the market to be in, despite the dust storm, which is almost over. Food is $372. There's no real reason to be in anything besides that. Look at this. I mean, I guess it's misleading. Hexpus has food upgraded, but even during the dust storm, they're making more than the electronics. That's insane. Alright, well, Fox is almost to the bio numbers at D+6, spiraling out hard. Price is just going to keep dropping now that we're past the debt tick. Fox does have the money. These players, Pavlos and Hexbus, have not bought in enough to Fox. So now his stock price is just that much higher. It's going to be that much harder to catch up. Fox, how do your optimizations look? He is not doing great on optimizations, just 2 and 2. Which is good enough for the moment, I suppose. He's in the right optimizations. He still has 6 farms up, which, again, no one else really is doing that. And as long as that's the case, Fox is just going to keep making money, and it's going to be harder and harder for the other players to catch up. Pavlos might just not have nearly enough time to do it. As much of an advantage late game as Pavlos could have. He only has the one optimization center running, not running any of the optimizations to full, meaning he's not getting the extra claims. He doesn't have any optimizations in food. That's a significant problem. It is definitely concerning for me that this whole time he's been running on this double water pump. He's had the water to run the food, and he's just chosen not to do it. The electronics are solid for him. I should not discount that. And it is an electronics colony, so there is that going for him as well. But if he was, well, because he is going for this play, what I would like to see to try to supplement it, he could be going for a hacker array, just hacking up electronics. No one else is in electronics. He makes electronics much better than anyone else because he has the optimizations. Well, he has an optimization. He should keep pushing on the optimizations. There's no reason to stop that. And that would be a way to make a lot of extra money. It's not looking like it's happening though. Hexbus moving into an off-world. We talked about off-worlds earlier. Oxygen, as expected, is a very strong launch. Hexbus has a little bit of oxygen stored up. The solar condensers are still running. That's going to be great for him. But it all still just feels like too little too late. Fox already at 300k. Stock price so much higher, and well, Numbers is struggling as a sub right now, and it might be a while before that improves. Numbers still has an upgrade to go to HQ5. The sub is probably going to be pushing to that before long, so this is going to be a dead investment for a while, but it's still just fine. Fox still has such a high stock price. Fox did move into a second optimization center as well. How is that going? Fully optimized food, fully optimized chemicals. This is not something you typically like to see for anyone who's not elite. The payoffs are just not big enough at these late stages. You're paying so much more time, so much more chemicals for these late optimizations. Once those markets crash out, then you're kind of just sitting there with wasted resources in them. Especially with food, running 6 farms. I think it should be expected that that's not going to hold up for very long, but that is okay. Fox is moving into an off-world now. That should be good for him. It is not gooned at the moment, so that's something. A bit confusing to me then that it wasn't just placed on top of the solar panel, but that's okay. Fox does have the 6 silicon quarries. A lot of core sampling done this game. And that should push him to a second off-world pretty quickly, which will, again, be excellent for him. Just a huge cash lead over Hexbus, and Pavlos just hasn't gotten enough done this game. Moving into more glass here, he really needed to make a push into the electronics, I think. That would have been a way to win this game. Either that or just push into off-worlds. Some sort of bigger long-term investment. He's kind of been stalling out with the single optimization center, hacker array not doing very much. At this point, it's hard to see Fox, anyone but Fox, winning this game. Hexbus's best shot probably involves a second off-world as well, although that is really expensive with electronics where it is. What else can Hexbus do? Not very much, really. Paid off a lot of debt. He's back into A rating. Probably a lot of that is off of power, generating a ton of power with the superconductor. Yeah. but still, just he's so far behind, and Pavlos is just still not in any position to help him. Yeah, it's just something it's worried about with Pavlos for a large chunk of the game. He's doing a lot right, keeping up with upgrades, keeping the debt in check, but just not pushing for the long-term investments to kind of close things out, which is really what you need to be doing as Elite. You have such powerful late-game tools, and if you're not using them, then that just isn't great. So numbers, Sub doing some interesting things. I imagine some of this is in response to the off-world getting built and other things like that, but this is just a ton of shipping. You see the steady stream of freighters, so fuel has stayed quite strong, and numbers is just going to continue not being a good sub, which isn't great for Fox, but, well, Fox doesn't need additional help. Almost to the buy on Hexpus. This game is just coasting to the finish. Right. Tufty Indigo reminds us that time is a tiebreaker in this tournament, so games taking longer to finish is a big deal. There is an argument for something like Fox selling out of a bit of stock to try to finish off Hexputs faster, but I don't know. Doesn't seem all that important. Okay, Hexpus selling out of Fox. This is a thing that Hexpus does sometimes. It makes some sense as well. Just, you have no chance of winning, make yourself less of a target, but ultimately there's no reason for Fox to ever switch targets there. Pavlos isn't being aggressive yet. Pavlos does have a ton of cash, but realistically he needs a lot more than Fox to finish this game out. Markets on world are starting to crash out for the most part. Electronics is the only one that's mildly strong, along with aluminum. So Pavlos with no off-worlds is going to have some trouble keeping up as things continue. And yeah, Fox's 3 off-worlds should just carry him through. Some things that Fox can do to help himself with that as well. He can hack aluminum very safely. He and his sub are the only ones with aluminum, and this electronics production does use it, so that is just nice. So Pavlos has been continuously hacking glass for a while, more or less, and well, glass at $100 I think says something about how well that's been going. Because Fox has been producing glass most of this time, the sub has been producing glass. It's just not been working out. Pavlos moving into steel and steel hacks instead makes some degree of sense. The sub is in the triple steel, so it's still not going to be great long term, but it is something that Fox at least doesn't have easy access to. Excuse me. The circuit overload on the geothermal does essentially nothing. Power's at $8, and it's just a single target. It's not impactful. To be fair, nothing else is a reasonable price on the market. Like spies might be something. Using the circuit overloads to pop goons might be something. But none of it's just going to do anywhere near enough. Fox is just going to win. Numbers finally starting to be I was saying, finally starting to be a decent sub, then he starts building an off-world. Because that's the way things go, apparently. Meanwhile, Hexpus is an amazing sub with a double off-world. No surprises there. And yeah, we see electronics starting to crash out, we see fuel continuing to be ridiculous because of this. Like 107, 110, whatever, is not a ridiculous fuel price, but it's stronger than it should be looking at the rest of the prices on the market just because of how ridiculous this is. The sub finally turning off these silicon quarries is good. Turning off the water as well. Alright, there we go. Fox has won this game. There was a tie for second, interestingly enough. And Numbers solidly in fourth. No big surprise there.